You say that the authors are sometimes really the stars of the film, because a lot of times you'll use people that maybe don't have total sort of name recognition, but they have a huge following, these authors, and that people are definitely going to gravitate toward them.
Yeah, the authors are the stars. I mean, firstly, we wouldn't have this idea if it wasn't for the authors. We're big fans of the romance community and the authors themselves. We love the books. They're fun, they're empowering, they are a great escape for us. And so, yeah, we look at the authors as the stars. So for us, it's very important that we hire actors that look the part, that can act, and that the authors approve. So we actually go through a whole casting process with the authors. So while we have the script, we'll send it out to breakdown services, or actors will be submitted to us. As soon as, if I'm directing, I'll go through them and say, these are the ones that I'm liking, and then I'll send them off to the authors and I'll say, who do you want? What are you looking for? If you had your ideal pick of a person, who is he? Do you have any pictures of somebody in mind that you would like? And oftentimes the authors don't have an actor in mind. They didn't have somebody in mind when they created them. It was somebody that they just came up with, which is great, much easier for us. But, and then they'll just send us a picture, or they'll say, well, he has brown hair and blue eyes, and he has a bit of scruff, and he has he's chiseled here, and obviously they all have to have six-pack abs. I mean, it's just...
It's important.
Yes.
Do you have the authors with you on set?
Very often. For the 3 movies that I directed this last year, the authors were with us quite often. So Alessandra Torre came on to Hollywood Dirt. Fortunately, she lived very close to where we were shooting, so she would actually come up quite often with her husband and son. And it was such a pleasure. It's such a pleasure having them with me on set as a director, because I can direct the scene and then I can immediately turn to them and say, hey, is that how you envisioned it? I'm just checking. I want to make sure that I'm doing this the way that you pictured it as well. And they go, yes, this is amazing. That's exactly how I saw it. Great, let's move on. And if there's ever a chance where they've said, it's not quite how I pictured it. I sort of pictured him walking in with his hands on his hips or being something else. I was like, great, well, let's do it that way then. Let's try it. And then we just work with the actors accordingly. And the actors are also very into it. They want to make sure that they're portraying these characters the way that the authors see them as well. So everybody works together as a team to make sure that we're bringing the right thing to life. And that it's really helpful to have the author there.
Yeah, because I would think that the author would know so much about the pulse of what the fans related to. Yeah. And you always hear that's kind of where the adaptation falls apart, is where the original lovers of the book somehow, so knowing that, I'm sure know that their fans inside and out, what they love.
Yeah, I think they know their fans inside and out, and at the end of the day, we can't please everybody.
Sure.
So there are going to be fans out there who say this is a terrible adaptation, and I hate you to do it. I hated every minute of it. They could say that. So the only thing that I can do as a filmmaker is make sure that the author is pleased, and if the author loves it, then my hope is that the fan will love it too. So that's our goal: make sure the author loves it, and then go from there.
Yeah, I think I watched 2 different behind-the-scenes like featurettes of both authors, I think, on set. And there was like a small Georgia town, and
yeah.
It looked really just like this safe sort of set where I felt like, oh, I would want to be here. Like, I don't know, I kind of wish I could have been there too.
It was so much fun. Shooting in Georgia was a wonderful experience. But making that movie was just a wonderful experience overall. But I think all of the movies that we've made for Passionflix have been a very positive, fun experience. It's always great to meet all these men that come on to portray these roles, and I, as a woman, get to tell them how they need to treat women. And then they listen, and then they do it, and it affects their lives in a very positive way, and that makes me happy.
And I bet that it's such a science in terms of where someone's touching them, or I know you said you don't really show too much nudity.
Yeah. Well, we don't show nudity because I don't think that is what women want to see. I don't particularly want to see naked people having sex on screen. If you do, that's porn, and that's great, and go ahead. But in Hollywood Dirt, the 2 were naked, so we could have shown it all, but that wasn't what the scene was about. It was about connection and intimacy. And so we do see breasts and nipples for a little bit, but we don't focus on it. That's not the focus or the point of these 2 people connecting. So we do have some nudity, we just don't exploit it. And then with regards to how people touch, it's not, I mean, it's a science, sure, but it's more of a gaze. You know, we're used to seeing movies where men will gruffly pull you in and, you know, this is how we're going to have sex, and, you know, go, you know, physically touching women in ways that can be a little bit more aggressive, which is, you know, everybody to their own, you know. But the way that we do it in Passion Flicks is sensuality and connection. So when we want to see, what we want as women is for a man to longingly touch us on the face or the arm, or gently lead us or guide us through a room by putting his hand on the small of our back, you know, not grabbing our arms and pulling us, or, you know, grabbing you for a kiss is always great, but doing it in a more connective way is what we want to make sure that we portray.
Less caveman.
Less caveman, exactly.
Okay.
We've seen the caveman.
We
ones.
have, yeah.
Now we want sensuality and connection.